Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, we had a dairy auction overnight that was impressively resilient. But trumping all other news today, the US Fed has made an emergency out-of-cycle rate cut. It has reduced its benchmark upper bound by 50 basis points to 1.25%, solely on the basis of the material risk to the US economy that the economic effects of the coronavirus pose. The immediate reaction, however, hasn't been positive. It just seems to have reinforced the sense of risk. Equity prices are falling, benchmark bond yields have dived, and gold prices have jumped. These are clear risk-off signals. Meanwhile, locally, there's been another dairy auction, as I mentioned, and the results are resilient. Overall, they're down 1.2% in US dollar terms, but up 0.3% in New Zealand dollar terms. While food service commodities like skim milk powder and cheese fell, the large whole milk powder product, that is more of a consumer base, slipped only 0.5%. Butter rose 1%. Volumes sold were on the low side due to the seasonal shift, but actually they were 7% higher than the equivalent auction last year. Back to the international situation, Wall Street is in retreat again, down 2.5% so far today, and this is despite the spectacular rise yesterday. Markets sensed or had inside information that the US Fed would make some kind of policy move and jumped 4.5% at yesterday's close. That positive vibe lasted until the Fed announcement and then has been downhill since. Since the start of February, the overall decline is now 6%, and in the past 2 weeks has been more than 10%. There were no surprises in European or Japanese data overnight, however. In Australia, the Reserve Bank of Australia cut its policy rate by 25 basis points for the same reason as the Fed, and markets are now expecting another cut in April. And the latest compilation of COVID-19 data is out. There are now 12,163 cases outside China, a rise of 1,400 overnight, as the numbers jump again in South Korea, Italy and Iran. A week ago, that outside China number was 2,930, so it's quadrupled in a week. Meanwhile, in Australia, the number of building consents issued in January was down 10.5% compared with the same month a year ago. That means that in the last 18 of 19 months, there's been a decline. US Treasury yield is now under 1.01%, a record low, and lower by another 6 basis points overnight, taking the weekly fall to 30 basis points. Their yield curves are jerking around today. And gold has jumped today, up another $47 to $1,645 an ounce. This is a major move back to the risk-off settings we had in mid last week. US oil prices are a little changed, now just on $47.50 a barrel, while the Brent benchmark is also just under $52.50 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar starts today stronger by 0.5 cent at 63 US cents. That's on a weaker greenback. On the cross rates, we're softer at 95.4 Australian cents, and against the euro, we're also firmer at 56.4 euro cents. That means our trade-weighted index is back up to 68.3. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.